Spangled Banner played by the Gate City High School Blue Devil Band. The teams are ready to take the field. Tazwell entering to our left, Gate City to our right. We're just about set for football. Larry Shelton has the pregame starting lineups.
For the Tazwell Bulldogs on offense, at split end, Matt Hildreth, 5'10", 155-pound senior. At left tackle, Mike Lambert, a 5'10", 200-pound senior. At left guard, Graham McPherson, 6 feet, 195-pound senior. The center, Danny Sparks, 5'10", 270-pound junior. At right guard, Kevin Brooks, 6'1", 180-pound junior. At right tackle, J.R. Van Dyke, 6 feet, 215-pound junior. The tight end, Matt Whitaker, 6 feet 1, 160-pound junior. The wingback, James Martin, 6'1", 175-pound senior. The fullback, Jamie Watkins, 5'10", 210-pound senior. The tailback, Curtis Johnson, 5'8", 170-pound senior. And the quarterback, Condwani Patterson, 6'1", 170-pound senior. For the Blue Devils tonight, on defense, at left end, Lindsey Fisher, 6'1", 165-pound junior. At left tackle, Larry Jackson, 5'11", 155-pound junior. The right guard, Brian Burke, 6'1", 180-pound senior. The right end, Joel Stacy, 5'11", 190-pound junior. The left outside linebacker, Jake Housewright, 6 feet 2, 175-pound freshman. The left inside linebacker, Matt Johnson, 6 feet, 207-pound senior. The right inside linebacker, Chad Beasley, 6'4", 200-pound sophomore. The right outside linebacker, Benny Wolf, 5'10", 170-pound sophomore. The left cornerback, Matt Clayball, 5'9", 150-pound senior. The safety, Joey McBride, 5'11", 160-pound senior. And the right cornerback, Hank Clayball, 5'9", 150-pound senior. The officials for tonight's game, the referee is Lewis Woolwine. The umpire, Ron Phillips. The head linesman, Mike Overstreet. The line judge is Rick Trask. The back judge is Eric Worley. And the electric clock operator is the one and only John Wayne Martin.
So there you have the starting lineups for Gate City and Tazwell, a renewal of an old Southwest District rivalry. 1986, Gate City went to the new Highlands District. Tazwell stayed behind. The Southwest District has changed its complexion over the years, but one thing has remained solid, and that has been the football tradition of the Bulldogs at Tazwell. Right now we're having the pregame coin toss at the middle of the field here at Legion Stadium. The referees talking things over with the team captains. For Tazwell, out there for the Bulldogs, representing Coach Dave Litz, number 34, Jason Cummins, a senior, and also senior Jared Linkus, number 86. For Gate City, it was number 59, Sean Becker, a senior, and also senior number 57, Brian Burke. Sean Becker, number 59. Gate City will kick off. Tazwell will receive to open the game, and Tazwell will be defending the goal to our right. That's the scoreboard into the field. Kicking off for Gate City will be Matt McClellan, the senior. What a stellar career he has had here at Gate City. Coming into tonight's game, McClellan has been solid. He's made 12 of 13 point-after kicks so far this season. Over the past 2 years, he's made 46 of 50 PAT kicks. A phenomenal number for the Gate City High School senior. Larry, some final thoughts as we get ready to kick off action here at Legion Field.
Well, I'd like to see Matt McClellan kick this thing all the way into the end zone. Their backs bother me, PJ. They're real sturdy looking backs and have not great speed, but have good speed and have always given us problems, I think, because they're hard to bring down. But Matt's leg has done a job over the first 4 games, and I fully expect him to do a good job tonight.
McClellan tees it up at the 40-yard line, and the Devils stand back at the 35. Tazwell sends number 43, Curtis Johnson, a 5'8", 170-pound senior, as public address announcer Wayne Bradson encourages the crowd. Everybody up, as here it is, football time in Gate City. McClellan boots it deep. Johnson takes it in the end zone, bobbles it, and he will come out of the end zone. He runs with it. His blockers were not ready. Johnson to the 10, to the 15, and he's tackled as he crosses over to the 16. Johnson bobbled the football. His blockers thought he was going to down it in the end zone, but Johnson picked it up and started to run. He still manages to get it out close to the 18, they'll call it the 19-yard line, and that's where Tazwell will start 1st and 10.
Well, PJ, they actually blew the ball dead. We didn't hear the whistle, but both officials were blowing the ball dead, and they'll spot it on the 20 because it broke the plane of the end zone.
So it's a 1st and 10 at the 20, a touchback, they say, when Martin bobbled it back in, well, Johnson bobbled it into the end zone, then Tazwell gave it up on the touchback. So here are the Bulldogs with a power I formation. Wingback is to the left side. Quarterback is Con Patterson, and he's going to give it to the wingback. Here's Johnson going around the right end. Not much running room, and Matt Johnson, it closes in quickly and tackles him for a 2-yard loss. The Gate City defense pursuing Curtis Johnson well on the right side.
Yeah, Matt Johnson and Matt Clayball also up from his cornerback spot to give good run support on that side. A good job by the defense, and looks like Tazwell right off the bat is going to try to stretch us out wide, PJ.
2nd and 11, Tazwell 19. The ball is on the far hash mark. Devils looking solid in the past 3 or 4 games on defense. At least since the Lebanon game, they have tightened up. Bill Housewright has worked wonders with this team. And here's Con Patterson looking things over. This time he's going to roll out to this side. He's going to pass, looking downfield. Has a man open to this sideline. It's broken up nicely. Hank Clayball stepped right in front of the intended receiver, number 82, Matt Heldreth. And Hank Clayball with a stellar defensive move to break up the pass on the near sideline.
That was a great play. The guy had a step on him for just a second, and Clayball closed right at the end and got his hand in, deflected pass, and that was a great defensive play.
The intended receiver was right at the 45-yard line, and that was Heldreth. Had Heldreth got it, then it would have been a big yardage game for Tazwell. But instead, the Bulldogs, 3rd and 11 at their own 19-yard line. The opening drive of the game, Tazwell moving from right to left. 11 minutes, 14 seconds left. Patterson taking time to talk things over with his back. Again, I formation, wing back going from left to right. Here's the play, going to give to the tailback off the left tackle, and not much room there. Gate City's defense closing in quickly as James Martin, the leading rusher for the Bulldogs, has tackled for minimal yardage. He gets maybe 1, and they're back to the original line of scrimmage.
Brian Burke did a good job. Just held his ground that time and fought off the interference and brought the tailback down for no gain.
Con Patterson is back to punt for Tazwell. The ball is Hank and Matt will receive for Gate City. Patterson had his first punt blocked last week against Richlands, but he boots this one off high in the air. Taken by Hank Clayball at the 47. He's to the 45, and that's where he stopped. 45 of Tazwell. He gets into Bulldog territory, and Hank Clayball gives Gate City a 1st and 10 at the Tazwell 46. 10 minutes and 37 seconds left in the first quarter.
Curtis Burton is the first guy down for Tazwell to make the tackle. Blue Devils going to take over in good shape on the Tazwell side of the 50. So right here is one of those opportunities, PJ, that we have to take the ball and move it in, maybe.
Here's the lineup for the Devils in the backfield. Shoemaker, a cornerback. Matt Clayball is a wingback to this side. Hank Clayball is a halfback. He now goes in motion. Kevin Gibson is the fullback, and they give to Gibson up the middle. Gibson finds some running room and is finally dropped after 3 yards along the near side. Kevin Gibson has about 297 yards, and that may give him 300 on the season.
Jason Cummings, one of the tacklers that time, and Brian Phillips, the other tackler for Tazwell.
Gain of 3. The ball is at the 43 of Tazwell. So an even 300 yards rushing for the senior fullback, Kevin Gibson. He's carried the ball 50 times on the year. He came into the game 4th in the Highlands District. The 5th place back is also in the backfield for Gate City. That's Hank Clayball. Here's Josh Shoemaker under center, calling the play. Wide out is Matt McClellan to the near side. Misdirection, and Shoemaker's going to hand off to Matt Clayball. Breaks a tackle around the far side to the 40, 35. He's out of bounds at the 30-yard line. Matt Clayball with a big run, and Gate City has a 1st down.
Good-looking play that time, PJ. That's a new formation we've kind of run out of. The best I remember is kind of a wing-back formation with all 3 backs closer to the line of scrimmage than normal. John Mabry made the tackle that time for Tazwell, the right defensive end.
Matt Clayball gains 12 yards on his first carry from scrimmage around the left end. He broke a big tackle. There waiting for him was John Mabry, and he got by Mabry and got the big yardage. So it's 1st and 10, Gate City driving. They're on the far hash mark at the 31-yard line of Tazwell. Shoemaker barks the signals. Here's Gibson, the fullback, across the right side, and he's down to the 27-yard line. Gibson stretches for the extra yardage, and it will be 2nd and 7 for Gate City.
Jason Cummings again in on the tackle from his left outside linebacker spot that time. 2 3-yard gains by Gibson. We're hitting them a little bit with the fullback, and they're going to try to run them wide. So Tazwell's the team that brings 8 men up in the box almost and kind of dare you to throw the ball.
The Bulldogs gave up a lot of yards last week, 220 of them on the ground to Richlands. Gate City with an equally devastating ground attack. Here's Shoemaker with the backs in a tee, and he's going to give to the right halfback. Matt Clayball, not much running room, and he maybe will lose yardage along the left side. Several Bulldogs there, including number 64 of Tazwell. That's Brian Phillips, a senior.
So that play, we tried to run back to the weak side that time and only had the other Clayball brother in front as a blocker, and they had us outnumbered on that side, so fought through and did a good job to hold us for no gain.
3rd and 7, say 6.5 for Gate City. 8 minutes and 15 seconds left. Period 1. Big crowd on hand here at Legion Field. A beautiful autumn, crisp, cool night. And Shoemaker looks over the defense with a T formation behind him. Gibson is the fullback, and they're going to get to the left halfback, Hank Clayball, and he's held the minimal yardage across the left side. And again, Gate City trying that left side, and once again, Tazwell stopping the run for little gain.
Let's see what the Blue Devils here do here. Let's see if maybe Matt McClellan comes in and attempts a field goal here. Looks like we have quite a few people coming on the field, and McClellan is going to attempt a field goal. Be spotted at the 32, which should make it a 42-yard field goal.
Josh Shoemaker will hold. Tazwell sending people along the edges of the defensive line. They're going to try to block it from the outside. McClellan waiting for the snap. Here it is. He boots it up. It's going to be long enough, but it looks like he hooked it. Or did he get it? No good. He hooked it to the left. Matt McClellan had the distance, but he hooked the ball just to the left of the goalpost near the scoreboard end of the field. Gate City missing from 42 yards out, and Tazwell will take over.
You know, BJ, I believe every field goal that Matt's missed has been to the left side. Maybe something in the way he's opening up his hips. You know, I read where Bexford down at Tennessee was opening up his hips a little bit too quick and missing everything left. Matt's not missing but much when he misses. He always has the distance and the height, but been off target.
Tazwell to the line. They again run with the power eye. This time the wingback is set to the left side. Con Patterson, a senior, gives to the tailback, and he doesn't get much room. That was Curtis Johnson, and he is hit right at the 20, maybe the 21, by several Devils, including number 73 of Gate City, and that is Joel Stacy, among others, for Gate City.
Yeah, the first man to get to him was Matt Johnson. He met him behind the line of scrimmage and really caused the loss on the play. 2nd
and 9, as it wasn't much of a gain for Johnson of Tazwell. He got maybe 1, and Johnson has his second carry now with a net gain of 0 yards. 2nd and 9 at the Tazwell 25. Bulldogs on the near side of the field, split out on both sides, and an I formation. Here's the quarterback, Patterson, running the option to the far side. He's going to keep it himself. Around the end, he's got some running room. To the 30, 35, and tripped up from behind at the 36-yard line. Con Patterson went around the end. Nobody there to contain, and he has a Bulldog first down.
Chad Beasley made the tackle for the Blue Devils. Came from his right inside linebacker spot all the way across the field to make the tackle. Tazwell, I asked Coach Colabro yesterday if they ran the option very much, and he said they haven't run it very much, but they may come down here and really run it a lot against us.
Con Patterson played running back last year as Brad Howery was the quarterback for Tazwell. This year, with the departure of Howery to Bridgewater College, Patterson has stepped in nicely to assume the signal calling chores. Here he's going to give to the fullback through the left side, and not much there, maybe 2 yards for the fullback. And this time, that was number 32 of Tazwell, Jamie Watkins, on the carry. And Watkins has his first carry for about 2 yards.
Chad Beasley and Larry Jackson on the tackle that time for the Blue Devils. They're trying to run at us, seem like, more than they are outside, except on that one option play, maybe 2 plays wide. But most of their running plays so far has been right at the middle of our defensive line.
2nd down and 6 yards to go. The Tazwell 38 is where the ball rests. Patterson looking over the backfield. It's a power eye. Wingback is to the left side. They're going to go that way, and he gets to the first back through, and not much room there. Gate City stops him right at the line of scrimmage. A sea of Blue Devils there to make the stop on the running back, and it looks like for Tazwell that was again number 32 Watkins.
Ran right at Larry Jackson that time. Larry's a little small on weight-wise for a defensive tackle, but he did a heck of a job, held his ground, and tackled him right at the line of scrimmage.
You may remember against Lee 2 weeks ago, Larry Jackson had his first varsity touchdown. He recovered a fumble by Jeremy Pendergraft of Lee and returned it for a score. That was a big momentum shifter against the Generals. It's 3rd and 6 for Tazwell. Patterson rolling out to this side, looking. He's got plenty of time, fires over the middle, and it's caught, but stopped right after a gain of 2 yards, well short of the first down. Reception made by Tazwell. James Martin out of the backfield. Patterson with good time, but very good coverage by the Gate City secondary.
Yes, the safety and the cornerbacks did a good job on the people going on the long routes, and the linebackers dropped back. Beasley and Johnson made the tackle right just as soon as the man caught the ball.
4th down and 4, so Patterson on to boot the ball for the 2nd time tonight from the Tazwell 40-yard line. It's a high punt, not going to go very far, and it's going to bounce. The clay balls will let it bounce and roll. Takes a bulldog bounce inside the 20, down to the 15, inside the 10, close to the 5, and that's where it will be down, right at the 5-yard line of Gate City. For Tazwell, it is a 55-yard punt by Con Patterson, but about 20 of those yards coming on a bounce and roll. 1st and 10, Gate City.
And so far, PJ, Tazwell's won the scrimmage, the line of scrimmage field. They've moved us down deep in our own territory when we had our first possession just across midfield in their territory. So they've won the first line of scrimmage battle.
Devils with their backs against the wall. Power I formation behind the quarterback Shoemaker. McClellan is split out to this side. That's the short side. He's going to give to the tailback. Here's Hank Clayball across the right tackle up to the 10-yard line, and he's hit there by Martin among others. Hank Clayball with 5 yards.
And Martin did a good job along with Brian Phillips and Jamie Watkins on the left side of Tazwell's defense.
2nd and 5 after the 5-yard gain for Hank Clayball. 2 carries, 7 yards for the senior. He is 5th in the Highlands District. Came into this game with 241 yards on 49 carries. At the 10-yard line, Gate City just inside the near hash mark. Shoemaker calls the signals. Again, power I. He's going to get the Clayball again. Clayball up to the 13, maybe 14, but he is stopped and pushed back there.
Looked like Hank had a hole a little bit to his right side that time, and he cut back to the interior of the field, and Tazwell was waiting on him.
Stopped by several of them, including number 75. That's Danny Sparks. Gain of 4. It's down to the 19. Actually, it's going to be a gain of 3, and it's going to be 3rd and 2.
It's going to bring up 3rd.
Blue Devils in a desperate need here to pick up a first down, PJ, just to improve their field position.
Ball is just shy of the 13-yard line. Here's Shoemaker, the sophomore. What a job he's done. Looking over the defense, 4-down lineman for Tazwell. Shoemaker to get it to Gibson up the middle. Gibson pushing his way, and I believe he is going to have the first down on 2nd effort. Kevin Gibson following the block of Matt Johnson, and also number 65 for Gate City, Chad Beasley, and it is enough for the first down. Kevin Gibson with another big run for the Devils.
That's an important first down, PJ. If you pick up any yardage at all on the next 3 plays and happen to be stopped short of another first down, at least get you out of the shadow of your own goal line to do your punting from.
4 yards on the carry, and Gibson now has 10 total. 1st and 10. Blue Devils at their own 17. Shoemaker with a T formation, no wideouts behind him. Looking over the defense, calls the signals once, calls it twice. He's going to roll out the pass, looking, fires. He's got a man open. McClellan beat everybody, but he just drops the ball at the 45. The pass was a tad long, and it slipped right out of the fingertips of Matt McClellan at the 45 of Gate City. Incomplete, but a penalty flag is down, so we'll see what the infraction is. And by the reaction of the Tazwell fans below us, I believe it's going to be against the Devils.
Probably a holding call from the position where the flag is thrown on the field and thrown by the umpire. So that's usually the area where you pick up a holding call. And since it was a pass play, it's probably what it's going to be, PJ.
McClellan had beaten 2 defenders for Tazwell, and he was open, had a step on him at the 45, but the pass just skipped off the fingertips. But it would not have counted anyway, probably because of the flag. And all indications are that we're going to be seeing Gate City move back closer to their own goal line because of the penalty. Still no word on what the infraction was. We're waiting to hear the call from the officials now. They do begin to march the ball back to the 5-yard line. Is that where they're going to put it? Now they move forward, maybe the 7. So we'll call it the 7. And Gate City guilty of holding.
Should be half the distance since they're inside the 30-yard line. Should be a half the distance penalty, and will still remain first down, though. That's one good thing for the Blue Devils.
First down, the ball is at the 8-yard line. They have to get to close to the 27. Shoemaker calling the signals. And he's going to go back to pass again, straight back. Looks, fires to a man. He's got Matt Claybaugh, but he bobbles the ball. Did he make the catch? No, he didn't. Matt Claybaugh was turned one way, had his hands on the ball, then tried to turn the other way to pull it in, and dropped it as he hit the ground. Incomplete.
Almost made a spectacular play laying on the ground. Almost caught the ball on the rebound. Jason Cummings out from his left linebacker spot, picking up a back out of the backfield on coverage for Tazwell that time. Tazwell's really still crowding the line of scrimmage and daring to throw the football down deep in their own territory.
Second down and 18 to go. Again, the Devils must move the football close to the 27-yard line of Gate City to get a first down. Wide receivers set to each side. Matt McClellan is to the short side of the field, and Matt Claybaugh is to this side of the field. It's an I formation behind the quarterback. Shoemaker calls the signals. He's going to roll straight back to pass. The blitz is on. He's hitting the end zone. He falls, throws the ball finally, and is he going to be guilty of grounding? No flag as of yet. There was nobody in the area, and he tossed the ball just as he was in the grasp of number 71, Mike Lambert. Lambert had him in the end zone, and Shoemaker alertly tossed the ball where there was nobody, and it goes incomplete. So instead of a safety, Shoemaker tosses the ball incomplete.
Very close to hitting an offensive lineman there, PJ. If he had been, that could result, I would think. I don't have for sure had this in high school. If you get a penalty while you're in your end zone, it's an automatic safety. But he almost hit an offensive lineman, but it just happened. It was over his head far enough, and evidently the officials thought that they had a receiver in their area.
We're seeing Gate City resort to the pass early tonight. Usually in the first 3 games or first 4 games, we've seen them wait until maybe midway or late toward the later stages of the first quarter. But tonight they've gone to it early. Shoemaker under center. Going to give it to the first back through. Gibson breaks off a tackle. He's up to the 15, up to the 20, to the 22. He's about 5 yards short of the first down, but a big run for Kevin Gibson.
A good trap block that time by Kilgore and Beasley, I believe, on the right side that time, and gave Gibson some room to get out and get us a little bit away from our end zone to do our punting. But Tazwell should pick up pretty good field position here.
4th and 6, the Gate City team with the ball on the 21-yard line. Joey McBryant, the senior, back to punt for Gate City. High snap, comes down with it, boots it away. Back to receiver Tazwell's Con Patterson. Steps up and it bounces at the 50. He'll take it at the 45. Gate City there to greet him, and he gets maybe 2 yards before the Devils stop him at the 47 of Tazwell. Con Patterson backed up. The ball bounced to the 50, and he picked it up at the 45. Looked like he was going to let it roll, but picked it up and got 2 yards.
Matt Claybaugh and Brian Burke on the tackle for the Blue Devils.
Gate City will give up the football to Tazwell. 1st and 10 Bulldogs at their own 47-yard line. Tazwell, as Larry alluded to earlier, they've won the battle for the line of scrimmage. They've had better position to start drives than Gate City has tonight. Tazwell on its 3rd offensive possession of the game. The first 2 have ended in punts, and Conwani Patterson, the punter, also playing quarterback. He's got backs set side by side. They break up the tee and bring a wing back out to this side. They're going to go to this side. It's the tailback, and running room across the 50. Fumble. Was it after the play? No, it wasn't. And it's recovered by Gate City. The ball was run by Tazwell's number 22. Into the game was Kevin Mays, the reserve fullback. Mays got it to the 48 of the Devils, but he fumbled, and it was recovered by Gate City.
Benny Wolf came up with the fumble that time, and I believe that was a good call, PJ. It looked like he hadn't got all the way down, and the ground didn't cause the fumble. The ball was coming out before he hit the ground. So Blue Devils take over here. That's the first turnover, and let's hope that the Blue Devils can take advantage.
Larry Shelton made mention of the team with the fewest turnovers will win tonight. That's the reason why. Neither one of these teams gives it up very often. Shoemaker under center, barks the signals. T formation behind him. He's going to get to the right halfback. Claybaugh, that's Matt Claybaugh to the 50, and he's wrestled backward by number 81, John Mabry. But a gain of 2 for Matt Claybaugh.
Looked like that time that we almost fumbled, PJ. Looked like Matt had the ball not up in the breadbasket area where it should have been, but down low around his waist, and he was able to struggle and bring it back in and keep control. So we almost turned it over back to Tazwell again.
The ball spotted just shy of the 49, so they moved him back just a little bit. 2nd down and 9 to go for Gate City. And that is the end of the first quarter. We've wrapped up one complete period of play here at Legion Field between the Blue Devils of Gate City and the Bulldogs of Tazwell. After the first 12 minutes, no score between these two hard-hitting teams.
I'll tell you, PJ, so far it's been a game of not being able to move the ball on the ground by either team, really. Tazwell had one good option play where Patterson picked up some good yardage, and it was probably the longest longest gain of by either team all night. But Blue Devils are going to have to probably put the ball in the air to open up the running game, it looks like, and Tazwell may do the same thing. Patterson has a good arm, has some good receivers, so we may see a few balls go in the air here in the second quarter.
Some unofficial stats for Gate City. Leading rusher, Kevin Gibson, 4 carries, 22 yards. Behind him for the Devils, Matt Claybaugh, 3 carries, 13 yards. And then Hank Claybaugh, 3 rushes for 10 yards. For Gate City, Josh Shoemaker is 0 for 2. Both those pass attempts coming on the last drive. Conway Patterson, he's the quarterback for Tazwell, 1 for 2 for 2 yards in the first quarter. The leading rusher for the Bulldogs looks like Patterson. On one of those games, he had 9 yards around the right end, so he is also the leading rusher for Tazwell. Gate City shifts ends. They'll be heading from right to left now, away from the scoreboard. Josh Shoemaker, the quarterback, the sophomore, number 2 in the Highlands District in passing. He's under center. Jason Kilgore calls the snaps, gives to the first back through. Hank Claybaugh into Tazwell territory to the 45, down to the 44. A quick run by Hank Claybaugh, and he's close to the first down.
Kevin Mays made the first hit that time, along with Danny Sparks. Those quick hitters seem to be one of our better plays. Seem like we get a little trap block, and our backs have pretty good quickness and get through it pretty good, and usually get pretty good yardage on those plays.
3rd and 2 after the gain of 7. The ball is on the near side of the field. That's the press box side, right at the 34. Shoemaker calls the signal. They need to get, actually it's at the 43. They need to get to the 41, and not going to get there. It was the running back right off the off the right tackle. It was one of the Clayballs, and emerging from the pile is Matt Clayball, and he is stopped about 2 yards short of the first down.
And Jason Cummings met him head on and drove him back. He good tackle that time by Cummings. Now with a good punt here, we have an opportunity to gain field position on Tazwell, push them deep in their own territory.
Joey McBride stands at the Gate City 45. He's the punter for the Devils. And Con Patterson, the senior. He played running back. He returned a punt to open the Marion game for a touchdown. Here's the boot by McBride. A beautiful kick pushing Conwani Patterson over toward the corner. Rolls toward the end zone. Gate City gets down there, and they down it right at the 2-yard line of Tazwell. Sliding in to make the diving stop was Matt Claybaugh, the senior for the Devils, and he pins Tazwell back at their own 2-yard line.
You know, in close ball games, PJ, between good teams, the kicking game is very important, and that was a good punt. Even though it didn't look that good off the foot, it had good results, and we've pinned Tazwell down deep in their own territory. Now our defense has to take advantage here.
The longest play of scrimmage for tonight for Tazwell, it was a 9-yard run for Conwani Patterson. Other than that, Gate City has pretty much held the Bulldogs in check. The center for Tazwell, number 75, Danny Sparks, emerges from the huddle, now waits for his lineman to come behind him, and finally Patterson brings his troops to the line, sets them down. They're on the hash mark on the other side of the field. That's the Gate City home stand. McBride comes over to cover on the near side. Patterson on a quarterback keeper up the middle, and he maybe has 2. He's up to about the 4-yard line before the interior of the Gate City defense closes in.
I believe Joel Stacy, Brian Burke, and Larry Jackson, all 3 of those people were in on stopping Patterson on the quarterback sneak.
Patterson having a rough game last week against Richland. He completed only 4 of 17 attempts for 65 yards with 2 interceptions. On Tazwell's first possession last week, Patterson, who is also the punter, had a high snap, and all he could do was go down on the ball as Richland sacked him. It was all Blue Tornadoes from there as they won 26-0. 2nd down and 8 for Tazwell. Patterson looks over the backfield. Gate City sets the defense. Patterson calls the play, gets to the tailback, and breaking around the end is Johnson. He's to the 10. He's to the 15. To the 20. He's knocked out of bounds at the 26-yard line. A big run for Curtis Johnson, the fullback for Tazwell.
Matt Clayball had to come out way across the field from his cornerback spot, along with McBride to safety to save a touchdown there. We had a man hit him in his backfield, but he bounced off that tackle and got around our end and picked up real good yardage.
22 on the carry for Curtis Johnson. Johnson is number 43, a senior, 5'8", 170 pounds, and he puts the Bulldogs out of deep, bad field position, and they're up to the 30, check at the 26-yard line. Patterson, again, with the power I formation behind him. 1st and 10 at the Tazwell 26. The Bulldogs call the play. Here's the fullback up the middle, and Watkins maybe a yard before several Devils there to make the stop, including number 54, Matt Johnson.
Yeah, Matt Johnson met him head on and did a pretty good job. He held him to about a yard gain that time. It's hard to run over Johnson, and but Watkins is also a good-looking fullback. He's pretty stockily built and runs pretty close to the ground too. I mean, he's not real tall, so it's hard to bring a man like that down.
Second down, 9 to go for the first at the Tazwell 28. Bulldogs are on the near side of the field as Patterson looks down toward the end zone at the scoreboard. Part of the Legion Stadium. He's going to give to the tailback across the right side, and Martin is stood up and pushed backward at the line of scrimmage.
I believe Beason may have been the first man that time, along with Johnson, and Benny Wolf looks like came in from his linebacker spot. So those three people converged and only held him to a yard gain.
Third down and 8 to go for Tazwell. Johnson entering the game. This is kind of an indication of some of the struggles Tazwell has had on offense this year. Johnson was the leading rusher for Tazwell, but he only had 155 yards. Actually, it was Martin. Martin only had 155 yards in the season, so they've struggled to really move the ball at times, although they've converted big plays behind quarterback Con Patterson with wideouts to each side. Patterson going back. He's pressured, eludes the grasp of a tackler, looking to pass, fires downfield as a man open. McBride goes up to defend, and it's incomplete. No flag, although Coach Dave Litz of Tazwell demanding one. Great coverage on number 86, Jared Linkus, by Joey McBride, the senior for Gate City.
Yeah, he did a good job. He went up to fight for the football just like the receiver and knocked the ball out of bounds. So Patterson kind of hung that ball up, PJ. He was in trouble and just kind of hung it up in the air. He's kind of lucky he didn't have it intercepted.
Despite the big run by Curtis Johnson, Gate City will emerge again with pretty good field position. They're forcing Tazwell to punt. It's 4th and 8. Here's Patterson with a snap to the side, nearly blocked by Gate City's Benny Wolf. Going to be taken by Hank Claybaugh on the run, and he catches it in front of him at the 45 of the Blue Devils. On the run and sliding down on one knee at midfield was Hank Claybaugh, and he gives Gate City good field position at their own 45. 1st and 10 with 7 minutes and 19 seconds to play before halftime.
Kind of like this game kind of reminds me of two boxers that are sparring each other, PJ. It's we're moving the ball a little bit, but not a whole lot, and swapping pretty good field position for bad field position, and yet nobody scored.
Gate City, its 4th offensive possession of the game. T formation, going to get to the right halfback, up the middle, gain of 2, maybe 3, and that's about it for Gate City's Matt Claybaugh. He's up close to the 49, stopped by a host of Bulldogs, including, it looks like, number 22 of Tazwell, and that is Kevin Mays.
Yeah, I believe Kevin Mays was the first man to hit him that time. These linebackers are playing real close to the defensive front, and if you do break through the defensive front, you're right on the linebacker.
5 carries and 16 yards on the ground for Matt Claybaugh. It's 2nd and 7 for Gate City. Shoemaker, T formation behind him, gets to Hank Claybaugh across the midfield into Tazwell territory and down to the Bulldog. Looks like the 47. Hank Claybaugh alternating with his brother Matt Claybaugh, and Hank Claybaugh is about 2 yards short of the first down.
Good block that time, but J.C. Oaks on the left side. Claybaugh kind of got on his hip and just rode it. And J.C.'s a pretty good-sized young man, 6'3", 235-pound junior. So the Blue Devils here face another tough situation. 3 yards to go for a first down.
The ball's at the Tazwell 48. The Devils have to get to the 45 of the Bulldogs. 6:11 and counting here in period 2. Gate City 3-1 on the season. The Bulldogs also 3-1. Shoemaker, the sophomore, barks the signals. He's going to give to the halfback, left halfbacker on the right side. First down for Hank Claybaugh down to the 40 along the far hash mark. And the senior for Gate City continuing where he left off last week. He was the leading rusher for Gate City a week ago, and he picks up another first down for the Blue Devils. Injured player for the Bulldogs. Getting up slowly is number 64, Brian Phillips, but he's again on his feet.
Matt Johnson did one heck of a job as a pulling guard that time and got out in front of Claybaugh and threw the key block. Matt Johnson impresses me on both the offensive and the defensive side of the football, but he's also surrounded by some pretty good ball players both ways also.
1st and 10 at the Tazwell 40-yard line. Hank Claybaugh with 29 yards carry, rushing on 6 carries. Shoemaker calls the signals. He's going to roll out. Quick pass to the far side. Matt Claybaugh has it on the backfield for a gain of 4 yards before he's tackled on the far sideline at the 36.
Yeah, Patterson made the tackle from his right cornerback spot. He showed good quickness and closed on the play and held us to not a whole lot of yardage, maybe a 4-yard gain.
First completion of the night for Josh Shoemaker. He's 1 for 3 for 4 yards. Con Patterson, the senior, is 1 for 3 for 2 yards. Devils marching from right to left. Shoemaker under center. He's got the T formation. He's got a power lineup in front of him. The Bulldogs show blitz. Here's Shoemaker going to give to the right halfback, and he stopped cold after a gain of maybe a half yard. Not much there for Matt Clayball.
Sean Anderson did blitz from his right outside linebacker spot and met Clayball in the backfield.
Gain of maybe one, we'll say. We'll give him one. Third and we'll say 5.5. We'll call it 5 because we're on the home side for Gate City. So third and about 5 for the Blue Devils, maybe 5.5. Clayball, Matt Clayball, he's got 17 yards on 6 carries, and it's third and 5.5 for Gate City. They have to get to the Tazwell. Looks like just inside the 30-yard line. Here's Shoemaker under center, rolling out to the side. Got some pressure, fires downfield, and it's almost intercepted by the Bulldogs. It was in the hands of number 10, Jason Snap. The pass intended at the 23-yard line for number 42, Lindsey Fisher of Gate City.
Yeah, Jason Snap played that ball well. Other than catching the football, he did everything well. He stayed back and watched the quarterback, and Shoe kind of threw it in traffic that time. Quite a few white jerseys around.
Big decision here for Gate City, and thus head coach Nick Collabro calls timeout. He will trot out onto the field to talk things over with his troops because it is 4th down and 6. The ball is at the Tazwell 36-yard line. They're in probably almost too deep a position to punt, but you've got a big 6-yard deficit to make up for the first down. Plus, there's only 4 minutes and 19 seconds left before halftime, plus there is no score.
Right, and you know, if you don't make your first down, you're going to give Tazwell pretty good field position. They've had pretty good field position a time or two already, and Gate City's defense has held, but you're not sure how many times that you can do that, giving another team good field position. Kind of look for maybe. Looks like Coach Collabro may go for it here. I don't see her punter out there, so I'm not really sure what we're going to do. But it kind of gives all the indication of going for it.
This is really the first time all season Gate City has been shut out this far into the game. Coming into tonight's contest, Gate City averaging 24.3 points a game. They were only giving up 10.5. So the defense playing well, the offense looking pretty good, and Gate City is going for it. Big play in this game. 4:19 left, second quarter. Shoemaker under center, 4th and 6 in the middle of the field. Calls the play. He's going to roll out on the option pitches to Hank Clayball. Clayball turns the end. He's got the first down and more. He's upended at the 25-yard line. First down for Gate City behind the solid running by Hank Clayball.
Big play that time. Tough decision to make as a coach, but when a coach has got faith in your football team, why, I believe that's the right thing to do. We ran the option, I believe, for the first time tonight, and had a good fake by the fullback, and Shoe did an excellent job, made the pitch at the right time, and Clayball gained the yardage.
40 yards on 7 carries for Hank Clayball, and the Devils are on the move on the far hash mark of the field in front of the home audience here at Legion Stadium. The sophomore Shoemaker under center with a wide out. McClellan to this side. That's the left side. He'll give to Gibson, the fullback, and he stood up, and he's going to be dropped for a loss of yardage by several Bulldog defenders.
Yeah, led by J.R. Van Dyke, 6 feet, 215-pound right tackle that time. He hit Gibson a little high, but he stood him up because he's a whole lot bigger man than old Beans is at the fullback spot there, and so that was a stalemate, and the tackle won that time.
Officially no gain. They give Gibson to his forward progress, so that enabled him to get back to the line of scrimmage. Thus, it is 2nd and 10. The clock turns at 3 minutes and 15 seconds left before halftime. Gate City on the far hash mark. I formation behind the quarterback Shoemaker. McClellan is split out to this side. Shoemaker back to pass. Good time. He gets a great block from the line. Looking, fires, and it's tipped at the last second. It was intended for McClellan at the 17 and broken up and tipped by number 31, Sean Anderson, a junior.
Well, I tell you, Tazwell's doing a real good job, it seems like, on our pass plays. They're really dropping their linebackers back, and it's making it hard for us to throw with one receiver and 3 or 4 defenders over there on that side. We've been kind of lucky on 2 of those passes. That time it was tipped and not really close to being intercepted, but the only receiver we had 4 white jerseys around him.
3rd down and 10 in a game that is moving very quickly. Not a lot of timeouts here in the first half, as we are only 3 minutes before halftime. Shoemaker in a big 3rd down. McClellan is split out to this side. I formation, split out is to the far side. That's Matt Clayball. Shoemaker is blitzed, and he's sacked in the backfield at the 37. Getting there for the Bulldogs was number 64, Brian Phillips, and he hit the Gate City quarterback from the blind side, and it's going to be 4th and long for the Blue Devils.
So again, Tazwell stepped up with their defense, and thrown Gate City, after having pretty good field position inside the 30, has thrown us back now, and we're going to have to punt and try to put them down deep on their own goal line.
It was a loss of 17 on the sack. Shoemaker was rolling out the pass, and that's why he was so far deep in the backfield. Timeout is called as Tazwell will talk things over. Big play here because Tazwell looks to get the ball back one final time before the end of the second quarter.
PJ, it looks like that both these teams are doing an excellent job defensively. We're not, neither team's giving up a whole lot of yardage, one or two plays here and there, but I don't see that anybody has gained really much advantage when it comes to running the football or offensively as far as that goes. We haven't thrown the ball too well, and neither have they. And it's just been a stalemate. It's a defensive ball game so far.
Before we go to the halftime break, I want to tell you about our great sponsors tonight, including King Ford at Gate City, where you'll find the best prices on new models. By Roberts Tire and Recapping. Fall is a great time for new tires from Roberts, like Firestone and Michelin. And by People's Bank of Gate City, featuring half-a-day hours on Saturday and a drive-up ATM. Get countywide service with People's. Back to action. The ball is resting in the middle of the field. It's at the 37, and Gate City will punt. McBride stands at the 49 of Tazwell, and Con Patterson is just inside his own 5-yard line. McBride takes the snap. The blitz is on from Tazwell. He arches it toward the end zone. It's spinning. Patterson watches it drift back toward the middle of the field, takes a Tazwell bounce, and the Devils fall on it. Lindsey Fisher downs it at the 16 of Tazwell. So it looks like they'll spot it right at the 17, and that's where the Bulldogs take over at the 17, first and 10, with 2 minutes and 27 seconds left before halftime.
And Tazwell came with good pressure that time, and McBride had to hurry his kick a little bit. Plus, he was trying to kick away from Patterson, I believe, and really didn't really have that big a punt, probably 10 or 15 yards net from the line of scrimmage.
Tazwell was 4-7 last year. Dave Litz coming into the season said, we will be better this year. They have been, and they're looking good against Gate City so far. Wing back is to the left of Con Patterson as they break the tee. He's going to get to the fullback, and it's a big running room to the 25, to the 26 for Tazwell's number 25. James Martin up to the 26, and a gain of close to 6 for Bulldogs.
Hank Playball on the tackle that time for the Blue Devils. One of the first times they ran a little slant off to the left side that time, and did a good job of blocking our interior defensive line. Got the running back out on a cornerback, and Clayball did a good job just to make the tackle.
Second and a long 2 for Tazwell. Martin, who just ran the ball, has 3 carries and 9 yards rushing to this point in the second quarter. We're at a minute 27 left to play before halftime. Patterson calls the signals for Tazwell with a wing back out to the far side. Patterson going to roll around the end, keep it himself, and a QB keeper around the left end. He's to the 35, and is pushed out of bounds after he gains the first down right at the 37.
Looked like Andy Smith, the new man in the lineup that time for the Blue Devils at a linebacker spot, may have helped drive him out of bounds along with Matt Johnson.
And that was only Patterson's 3rd carry of the game.
Patterson, PJ, looks to be, I think, the best running back out of the lot. And I believe I read in the paper where at times they even put him at receiver, put another quarterback in.
Gain of 8 for Patterson that time. He's got 16 total in the game. First and 10, Tazwell at the 33. On their own side of the field, Patterson going to roll out this time. He's going to keep it all the way around the end. This time the Devils pursue better and stop him after a 3-yard gain. He's dropped down at the 40 by a number of Devils, including number 57, Brian Burke.
Good job that time. Burke came around, looped around from his right defensive tackle spot, and really made the tackle on him from behind. Tazwell's taking another timeout here, PJ, so they should only have one left, maybe. I'm not really sure if you're keeping those stats where they have one or that's their last timeout.
I think they have one final timeout remaining in the half. Again, we're 1 minute away from the end of the second quarter. It's been a defensive struggle the entire way. No score, 0-0 between Tazwell and Gate City here at Legion Field. The second of a 4-game homestand for Gate City. Next week, the Graham G men arrive at Legion Field for homecoming. In the following week, the undefeated and top-ranked Blue Tornadoes of Richlands will blow into Legion Stadium in what is sure to be a classic showdown.
I believe, too, they play each other tonight, PJ, Tazwell, and, Richlands and Graham?
That's right. So there's a big battle for the crown in the Southwest District, and one of those teams is going to be coming off a loss in the coming 2 weeks.
They sure are, and, you don't want to necessarily pull for either one of them, and you don't want anybody to get hurt, but you kind of figure that Graham may come out of that ball game a little beat up before we face them next week.
2nd and 5, Tazwell. 1 minute to play in the second quarter. I formation behind Patterson. Split outs to both sides. Patterson back to pass. Pump fakes. Throws it down the field. He's got a man open, but it's underthrown. Still caught at the 35 of Gate City. It was underthrown and intended for Matt Whitaker. Whitaker stopped at the 35, and the ball was just out of the reach of Joey McBride. The reception puts Tazwell in business at the 34 of Gate City.
You know, Patterson, to me, doesn't have a real strong arm. He lays the ball up pretty good. Of course, that was good on that play because it gave the receiver a chance to make the catch.
26-yard gain for Tazwell. 1st and 10 at the Gate City 30, we'll call it the 34. Patterson rolling back to pass. Blitz is on. He throws it downfield. He's got a man in the corner, but the ball's thrown out of the end zone. I don't believe I saw a flag. Something flew toward the corner of the end zone, but no penalty markers down. So the ball was well out of bounds, incomplete. It'll be 2nd down.
And he had to rush the throw because Larry Jackson was coming strong from his tackle spot and had really put some pressure on Patterson, made him hurry and throw the football. Now the Blue Devils have taken a timeout here.
Gate City trying to regroup. No score of whoever, if someone was able to put the ball in the end zone here in the final seconds of the game with Tazwell controlling the ball now, that would be a big momentum builder heading into halftime. At the very least, you would have the lead after the first 2 quarters. For Gate City, the offense has played pretty well, but they have misfired in the red zone. That's the deep part of the field toward Tazwell's end zone. From what we'll call it in high school ball, say the 30-yard line in. So their offense has moved well until they've gotten to the 30-yard line. From there on in, they've kind of sputtered. If you're Nick Colabro and you're calling the offense, you got to be thankful that your offense has not played well within the 30, but you're still tied 0-0 thanks to a great effort by the defense.
And your offense had turned the football over too. That's a big plus. Chad Beasley is reported back into the Blue Devil lineup at a linebacker spot.
2nd and 10 at the Gate City 34. Tazwell on the near side of the field. Martin in motion to the far side. Patterson's going to roll out. He's pressured, rolling around the end. He's going to pass downfield. Man open, and it is caught and dropped. Did he drop the ball? No, he caught it. He held onto the ball at the 14-yard line. A big reception for, was it Martin? Yes, it was.
It's incomplete.
Was it incomplete?
Yeah, he dropped the football.
He dropped the ball. Looked like one official looked like he was signaling that the ball had been caught, but then he changed it to an incomplete. So it's incomplete 3rd, but the Tazwell receiver is open, and Patterson showing a good arm as he threaded the needle through the Gate City secondary, although the pass was dropped incomplete.
He threw that ball better than any he's thrown so far, and he threw it off the run.
3rd and 10 for Tazwell. 31 seconds left. Tazwell moving from left to right. They're at the Gate City 34. Here's the blitz on Patterson. He throws the ball up. Let's see if anybody can get to it. Caught by Tazwell. Whitaker has it as he hauls a jump ball down at about the 20-yard line. Patterson just heaved the ball up for grabs, and Whitaker came down with it at the 20 of Gate City in the middle of the field. Tazwell has the ball with 22 seconds to play.
That's just a wounded duck, PJ. He throws it up, and they have a man that's in better position to catch the football than our defensive backs do, and they had good pressure that time again from Jackson and from Brian Burke. And Patterson, like we said, just threw it up, and they came down with the reception. So
1st and 10 for Tazwell, and they will call their final timeout of the first half. No score, but Tazwell knocking on the door. 22 seconds to play in the second quarter, and the Bulldogs have it at the Gate City 20. Conwani Patterson, 3 of 7 for 42 yards, and 2 of those completions have come on this drive. In fact, 40 of the yards for Patterson have been since Tazwell has taken over on this final drive of the half.
Yeah, the plays that they've done it on have not been real pretty plays, PJ, but they've come up with some couple of catches and now have the ball deep in our territory.
Gate City has not given up 100 yards passing since Israel Pope of Virginia High did it. Patterson looks to be on his way tonight as he drops back. It's 1st and 10, fires, and it's intercepted by Gate City. Hank Claybaugh picked it off on the far side for the Blue Devils. And Gate City preserves the possession. They stopped Tazwell deep in the Blue Devil into the field. It was underthrown and tossed to the left of the receiver. Hank Claybaugh stepped in front and picked it off. 1st and 10 for Gate City.
I tell you what, it might be a good thing for Tazwell that it was underthrown, but because if Clayball's able to keep his feet, I believe he goes all the way with that interception.
With 14 seconds left and counting, Gate City will let the clock run down. It looks like they're coming to the line, maybe to try one final play in the half, as the ball is at the 14 of the Blue Devils. 1st and 10. Clock showing 3, 2. Shoemaker gets the final play off, goes back to pass, heaves it up toward, he's got McClellan. It's underthrown and intercepted with some running room. It's number 10 for the Bulldogs, reverses his field. Snap is to the 20, he's to the 15, he's to the 10, and he is tackled out of bounds at the 7. A lucky break for Gate City. The Devils on the final play of the half sent Shoemaker back to pass. He heaved a Hail Mary downfield toward Matt McClellan, and it was intercepted by number 10, Jason Snap, at the 40-yard line of Gate City. He returned it all the way down to the 7, so the Blue Devils avert a big turnover at the end of the half.
Well, PJ, we want to take a break here and come back in just a few minutes. 3 completions, 1 interception for 45 yards. Total offense in the first half, Gate City 74 yards, Tazwell 115. Punts, Gate City punted the ball 3 times for a 32-yard average. Tazwell punted the ball 3 times for a 38-yard average. Penalties, Gate City had 1 penalty for 9 yards. Tazwell had 0 penalties in the first half. Turnovers, Gate City had 1 turnover. Tazwell had 2. The turnover was a fumble by Tazwell. They had 1 fumble and recovered it. Now, that's not right. They had 1 fumble and lost it because the Blue Devils recovered it. So the stats are just about like the score. They're pretty even. Tazwell has a little bit more total offense on Gate City, but both have 70 yards rushing. Tazwell's done a little bit better job in the passing department.
A stark contrast to last week. Of course, Gate City set a new season high with 250 yards rushing. Over the past 3 games, they've averaged about 320 yards of offense. That's over the past 2 games. So tonight, definitely a defensive struggle against the Tazwell Bulldogs. Larry, as Gate City comes out of the halftime break, they're taking the warm-up snaps in the far end of the field. What does Gate City have to do to get things going against the Bulldog defense here in the second half?
Well, they've got to hit a few passes, PJ. They've got to hit a few passes and open up some lanes to be able to run the ball. With those linebackers crowding the line of scrimmage like they are, we're not going to be able to run the ball and get big yardage. We're really going to be hard pressed to put 3 good carries together and pick up a first down with those linebackers crowding the ball. And when we have attempted to throw the football, you know, we attempted 7 passes in the first half. Seems like they either pick up a key from our formation, but they've had good pass defense along with our good run defense so far.
Pretty good game so far for Gate City. Looking at the running back totals for the Blue Devils, 5 carries and 22 yards for Kevin Gibson, the senior fullback. Hank Claybaugh, 7 carries and 40 yards, and his brother at the other halfback, 6 carries and 17 yards for Matt Claybaugh. As we said, Josh Shoemaker, the quarterback for Gate City, 1 of 6, an interception, and 4 yards total through the air for Josh Shoemaker. The captains for both squads will now meet at midfield to discuss the toss and the possession situation to start the second half. We're talking about this Tazwell defense, how well they played against Gate City tonight. They are probably the strongest unit on the field, Coach Dave Litz has said about his defense. In fact, they have several starters coming back, including Brian Phillips at end, Jamie Watkins and Graham McPherson at linebacker, James Martin at quarterback, and, of course, Con Patterson at free safety. So this is a team that played Gate City tough. They only allowed the Blue Devils 14 points on 2 different occasions last season, and they have carried that over well this year against the Blue Devils. Larry, you made a good point a minute ago. It seemed later on in the first quarter and on into the second quarter, Tazwell was really keying on something that Gate City was doing. In fact, Gate City was not picking up those big runs around the ends or those quick openers by the Clayballs. Anything in particular that you could see that Pat Tazwell might have been keying on against Gate City?
I couldn't pick up a thing, PJ. It's our normal formations. We not only throw out those formations, but we run out the same formations too. Unless they've, they know a lot more about the game than I do. I'm sure there's a key somewhere that they probably picked up, but I couldn't see any difference. We also, I just think we need to do a better job executing offensively. Shoe's got to hit a couple of passes somewhere. We've got to maybe run the option a little bit more and pick up some big yardage. We've got to spread them out a little bit and get those linebackers away from right off the line of scrimmage.
Speaking of linebackers, while we have a minute, just an aside from the game tonight, Former Gate City linebacker Darren Reed in the news this week as he was named the Old Dominion Athletic Conference Defensive Player of the Week in Emory and Henry's 34-7 win last week over Davidson. Reed had 15 total tackles, including 11 solo stops. So a former star for the Gate City defense, Darren Reed, having a big game for the Emory and Henry Wasps. And something that I found interesting was Gate City's current star linebacker, Matt Johnson, has said that he has tried to model himself in some ways after Darren Reed.
Well, Darren Reed was one heck of a linebacker, and Darren's got the mentality for a linebacker. Darren was just mean enough to really be a good not a mean kid, but I mean had the mentality of being really aggressive on the field. Darren's a tough kid, has done a real good job up at Emory.
Tazwell to kick off. Gate City will receive to start period 3 here at Legion Field. No score. Tazwell and the Blue Devils. Here's the kick, and it's a line drive. Bounces at the 30, picked up at the 15. It's Hank Clayball. He's out to the 20, to the 25. Still pushing forward out to the 30-yard line. Hank Clayball giving Gate City pretty good field position to start the third quarter. No score. Gate City 1st and 10.
Paul Clements made the first tackle on Clayball that time. So the Blue Devils start in pretty decent field position here at their own 30. Hopefully they can put 2 or 3 first downs together here. And I believe the team that might get on the scoreboard first here, PJ, may be the team that wins this game.
T formation behind Shoemaker, the sophomore. With the clock showing 11:43. Gives to the fullback. Gibson. He's up to the 35. He's to the 36 as he finds a big hole along the right tackle position and gives Gate City pretty good yardage down to the 36.
Well, one thing I saw that time that I'm impressed with, Patterson had to come up that time from his cornerback spot to assist on the tackle. So we evidently did a little bit better job of blocking those linebackers that time and made the defensive back have to make the tackle.
The linebackers were making a lot of big plays for Tazwell in the first half. That's an indication that Gate City was not getting all the way back into the secondary with their running game like they have in past games. Here they're going to give it to the right halfback, and it's going to be Hank Clayball forward to about the 37. Minimal yardage for the senior as the officials stop the clock.
I believe we have a flag on the play. Looks like face mask against Tazwell, so that's a break for the Blue Devils.
It was a pickup of 2 yards for Matt Clayball. He now has 19 rushing on the ground unofficially on 7 carries. And with the penalty tacked on to the end, Gate City will have a first down with 11 minutes and 1 second to play in the third quarter.
You know, I believe face mask penalty in high school, PJ, is a full 15. There's no 5-yard or 15-yard. It's a full 15, so that's going to move the ball into Tazwell territory.
Every face mask penalty on the high school level is considered a flagrant foul, whether the guilty party meant to do it or not. With the spot of the ball, Gate City has it at the Tazwell 47-yard line. 1st and 10. The Blue Devils aided by a big penalty by the Bulldogs with just under 11 minutes to play, third quarter. T formation behind Shoemaker, driving from right to left. Gives to the fullback. He's hit at the line of scrimmage and stopped right there. Not much running room for Kevin Gibson. Among the tacklers, number 32, Jamie Watkins.
And also a new man in the lineup, defense for Tazwell, number 71, Mike Lambert, I believe, that time on the tackle also.
Maybe a gain of 1, but it looks like minimal. So we'll say right back to the line of scrimmage. 2nd and about 9.5, so we'll say 10 at the Tazwell 46. Gate City trying to get the offense going here in the third quarter. 3-1 on the season, looking for win number 4 with Graham coming to town next week. T formation behind Shoemaker. Gives on a reverse around the other side. Here's Hank Clayball. He's up to the 40, to the 39. Hank Clayball lined up as the left halfback and took the handoff around the right end up to the 39-yard line. About 2 yards short of the first down.
The safety, James Martin, had to come up that time and make the tackle. That's the same play we ran a while ago with Clayball, where Johnson pulls from his guard spot and gets out as a lead blocker, and did a good job that time. Almost broke it loose for Clayball to pick up a first down.
47 yards on the ground for Clayball. It's 2nd and 3rd and 3 for Gate City. At the Tazwell 40, they have to get just past the 37 for the first down. They're on the far hash mark in front of the hometown crowd here at Legion Field. Shoemaker, the sophomore, barks the signals. He's back to pass. The rush is on. It's picked up. Shoemaker scrambling, fires, and it short hops the intended receiver, McClellan, at the 32. Shoemaker was on the run to his left, and his pass was to the side and short of the intended receiver.
Well, we've thrown to the left side over here about 3 times, and There's always been 4 white shirts. That's a tough place to throw. He threw it low that time. Hopefully, he probably saw the defensive man coming, but if it had been up a little bit, that's an interception. You're going the other way also.
Gate City will have to punt, and Joey McBride on to do those chores for the Devils. And here's the kick. Patterson coming up to take it at the 10-yard line. He's got a few blockers, but he turns the wrong way, runs away from his coverage. He's pinned near the goal line as McClellan will drag him down at the 2. Patterson started out at the 10. He tried to reverse field, ran away from his blockers, and Matt McClellan sacked him at the 2. So a net gain of -8 yards for Con Patterson.
Some help that time also from Lindsey Fisher down on the kick coverage. Thought he was going to run back in the end zone there, PJ, and we might get a safety out of that thing. I'd like to see the Blue Devils get on the scoreboard first here.
Gate City has converted 3 of their third down situations so far in the game, 3 of about 7, and they have come at pretty opportune times, but not within the key range that we talked about, not within the 20-yard line. And here are the Bulldogs with the football with 8 minutes and 59 seconds to play in the third quarter. At the 4-yard line is where they give Conwani Patterson, and Patterson under center calls the play. He's going to give Martin. Martin has a little bit of a hole on the right side. He's out to the 7, and the Devils quickly converge behind number 41 and 65. 41 for the Devils, Jake Housewright, and 65 also there. That's Chad Beasley.
First time I believe we've had an opportunity to call Housewright's name tonight. They've done a good job that time. You figure they're going to kind of run a little draw type situation out of their end zone, and Housewright did a good job. They had a hole open up pretty quick, and he closed and held them to about a 3-yard gain.
On Tazwell's next to last possession of the first half, it was Curtis Johnson. He lined up a tailback, and he took a handoff from quarterback Con Patterson and rumbled 24 yards to get Tazwell out of bad field position. Let's see, they give it to Johnson again, but the result is much different as the Devils converge on him on the left side of the Tazwell line, and Johnson is lucky to get back to the line of scrimmage.
Matt Johnson that time, and Beasley, and the tackle on that side, probably Brian Burke, did a good job. Held him to no gain at all, hardly.
3rd and 7. The ball still at the Tazwell. They'll put it just at the 5. They gave him some pretty good position on the spot, so it's 23 yards on the ground for Curtis Johnson. 3rd and 6 at the Tazwell 5. They've got to get to the 11 for the first down. Patterson, Con Patterson, the senior, he's been much talked about in Southwest Virginia as a good quarterback with a power eye behind him. Wingback lined up to the left. They're going to roll out to that side. Patterson going to keep it himself. Gets a block. He's got the first down and a little bit more. First down for Con Patterson, and Tazwell, he got to about the 15-yard line before he's out of bounds.
If I were a betting man, PJ, I'd bet that play was coming up, but he was going to keep it and roll out to one side or the other. That's been the best-looking play they've had so far, so it is a first down, just by not by a whole lot, but enough to move the chains, and that's a big play.
Gain of 9 for Con Patterson, and he has 30 yards rushing in the game. 1st and 10 for Tazwell at the 15 of Gate City. The Bulldogs methodically grinding it out, no score. Tazwell moving left to right. They're on the far hash mark on the side of the Gate City fans. The Tazwell fans cheering their squad on right below us in the Legion Field press box. 7:15 to play in the third quarter. Patterson with the linebackers showing blitz, then dropping off, gives to the tailback, and he is stopped after a not much gain up the middle. Running the football for Tazwell. Let's see as they unstack it. It looked like number 43, Curtis Johnson. Johnson forward for maybe 1.5 yards. We'll say 2 yards. It'll be 2nd and 8.
Lindsey Fisher shot in from his defensive position, his left defensive end position, made the first contact. Brian Burke, Matt Johnson cleaned up on the play.
The Devil defense bending just a tad, but they have yet to break. No score. Neither team has been able to touch the end zone or to kick a field goal. Patterson, 2nd and 8. They're going to come out to this side. Patterson going to keep it on the end around. This time Gate City meets him. He breaks a tackle and is hit hard and lassoed down at the 21-yard line.
Looks like Fisher and Beasley that time on the tackle for the Blue Devils.
Patterson a gain of about 4 yards. The ball is going to be just shy of the 22, so they'll give him 5 on the carry. 35 yards rushing for Con Patterson. 3rd and 3 for Tazwell. Key play for the Devil defense. If they can hold him here, they'll wind up with pretty good field position on the other side of the ball. And it looks like the officials have called timeout. Somebody with an equipment problem perhaps in the Tazwell huddle is one of the linemen putting a helmet back on. Now the official says start the clock And with 6 minutes and 5 seconds to play in the third quarter, the Devils trying to hold off the Bulldogs here at Legion Field. Gate City 3-1, Tazwell 3-1. Nick Colabro against his old team. He coached at Tazwell for 3 years before coming to Gate City. And here are the Bulldogs with a power eye. Patterson on a misdirection gives to Martin. He is stopped short of the first down. He's lucky to get back to the line of scrimmage as they gave it to the wingback going to the far side.
The B&B boys on the tackle that time. Beasley and Burke did a good job. Stopped him a yard and a half short the first down.
About a yard short of the first down, as Larry said, and Tazwell will punt. Patterson will kick it for Tazwell. Hank and Matt Clayball are back in Gate City territory at the 43. Devils with 8 men, now 9 men on the line. They're coming after Patterson. Now they drop off just a bit. Patterson will boom it away. Good kick for the senior of Tazwell. Fair catch called for and taken by Hank Clayball at the 44 of Gate City. That's where the Devils have it. Far hash mark side of the field. Still no score. Gate City and Tazwell, but it's 1st and 10 Blue Devils with 5 minutes and 5 seconds left in the third quarter.
You know, I'm not surprised, PJ, that Tazwell doesn't just give the ball to Patterson, put it in his hands and say take over and run the ends on this thing, because he looks pretty good. Kind of look for him to run the ball more this half than he did in the first half.
Gate City starting with its second possession of the half, the first one resulting in a punt. Here's Shoemaker. He's got 2 backs set side by side, and he's going to give it to the fullback. Gibson looking for room along the right side, and not much there after he picks up maybe 1.5. Finally stopped by several Bulldogs, all including, looks like, number 32, Watkins, and also number 64, Phillips, there for the Bulldogs.
Jamie Watkins has made a lot of tackles tonight for the Bulldogs from his left inside linebacker position. He's the fullback on offense, and linebacker on defense, and does a real good job when it comes to tackling.
Gain of 2 for Gibson. He's now got about 24 yards on the ground. T formation as it's 2nd and 8 at the Gate City 46. Shoemaker calls the signal. Gate City moving right to left. He's going to roll out, looking to pass. Has a man open out of the backfield. Hank Clayball at the 50. Stutter steps, now breaks a tackle to the 45. On the near side of the field, Hank Clayball lined up as the halfback, came out, took the flare pass, and he is close to the first down for Gate City.
Kind of interested in seeing where this spot is, BJ. Looked like he broke over the 45 into Tazwell territory. And they spotted almost right on the 45, but it's enough to give the Blue Devils a first down.
11 yards on the gain for Hank Clayball. 15 yards passing now for Josh Shoemaker.
Blue Devils went back to their bread and butter play, PJ. That's one of the plays that we've used well passing all year. That little flare-out pass to one of the backs in the back.
Shoemaker was 2nd in the Highlands District in passing yardage coming into this game as he lines the team up at the 45 of Tazwell. Quick get to the fullback. He's up to the 40, and Kevin Gibson churning out yardage. He finds a hole along the right side, and Kevin Gibson has the ball down to the 40 of Tazwell.
So some good blocking on that side that time by Becker and Beasley. Trap block by Becker and a good run by Gibson that time.
They spot him back just a little bit. Looked like he had moved the ball to the 40, but they put him back to the 41. So 28 yards on the ground, and it's 2nd and 6 at the Tazwell 41. They break the tee, and they have a wing back to Gate City. Out on the other side, here's Shoemaker rolling out. Quick pass out of the backfield. McClellan, the end, and he drops the ball. McClellan drops the ball at the 32-yard line. He was wide open as he had run a down-and-out pattern toward the far sideline and simply dropped the pigskin. It's incomplete. 3rd and 5.
He wanted to run that time before he had the ball tucked away and hit him right in the numbers. So let's see what that does on this drive here. That would have been a big play. He had already had the first down by the time the ball hit his shoulder pads and bounced off. So see if the Devils can recover. Maybe 2 down territory here. It's getting late. 3:07 to go, third quarter.
The senior McClellan claps his hands together and lines up again on the far side. He splits out. Here's the gift to Gibson, the fullback, breaking a tackle and spins forward for about 4 or 5 yards. And I think he's going to be close to a yard short of the first down. It's going to be 4th, and again, they spot him back just a little bit. Looks like it's going to be 4th and 2 for Gate City. Gain of 4 for Kevin Gibson.
It's a long 2 yards there, BJ. Like you said, we didn't get a real good spot on the play that time, but looks like Gate City's going to call timeout here and talk about it. This is a big opportunity here if we can pick up a first down. It's the most momentum we've had in the second half. So Coach Colabro's going to come out and talk to the offense, and I don't believe you have any other choice but to go for it from here.
Tazwell moved the ball pretty good on its last drive of the first half. On the first drive here in the second half, they could only push the ball from their 4 to the 17, so the Gate City defense held the Bulldog offense in check. But this, as we have said so many times and as we've made reference to throughout the early part of the season, another one of those learning steps for the young Blue Devils, although really you played 4 games so far. In Game 5, there are no youngsters anymore out there on the field for this team. This is just another natural step in their evolution into a more mature team.
Yeah, I think defensively, without a doubt, Tazwell's the best team we've seen so far. They do a heck of a job defensively.
Big play, 4th and 2. Gate City needs to get to the 35-yard line. They're at the 37. 2 minutes and 41 seconds left in the third quarter. No score. Shoemaker with a power eye, wing back lined up to the right. Under center, Tazwell showing everybody up on the line. Shoemaker hit the Hank Clayball, and he's got the first down. Hank Clayball follows a block along the right side, and let's see the spot. He appears to have the first down, but they're going to mark it short.
Yeah, that's the most important thing was the spot, and he marked it get 6 inches short from where he hit the ground. So a bad break for the Blue Devils there. He not only almost had the first down, but he almost was able to break that thing outside and get big yardage. But so that's a momentum builder for Tazwell here.
The Bulldogs have taken 4 punts by Gate City. They've also had an interception, and now they stop the Devils on downs. 2 minutes and 27 seconds left in the third quarter, and Con Patterson comes to the line for the Bulldogs. Going to pitch out. Johnson trying to find some room along this side, and the Devils converge and stop him after a gain of close to 2.
Good job that time by Beasley, one of the first men in, and one of the looks like Lindsey Fisher also the other man in on the tackle that time.
27 yards rushing for Curtis Johnson, and he pushes the ball to the 38 of Tazwell. It's 2nd and 8 for the Bulldogs. Tazwell breaks the huddle, driving from left to right under the lights here on a cool, crisp, but beautiful night at Legion Stadium. We're at the middle point of the season, game number 5. Martin in motion to the far side. Con Patterson fakes the handoff, dropping back on the play-action pass, fires downfield. It's incomplete. He threw between 2 receivers. He had 1 man short, 1 man long, and he plopped the ball right down between them, incomplete.
The Blue Devils had pretty good coverage that time. Both of those men had a defensive man within a step of them, and it would have taken a perfect pass to either one, I believe, to get a completion. Big down right here for the Blue Devils defense.
Gate City has won 3 consecutive games against Tazwell. They last lost to the Bulldogs here at Legion Field in the final regular season game of 1992. Patterson with an I formation. Wingback is set to this side. Wideouts to both sides, and he fumbles the ball from the center and falls on it at the 34. A big break for the Devils. Con Patterson with a mistake in the exchange, and a big break for the Devils as Tazwell will have 4th and 10, and they'll have to punt.
Yeah, the only thing that could have been any better about that play was the Blue Devils come up with the football, but it does make them have to punt on 4th down.
The Clay ball's back to receive at the 35. Con Patterson standing relatively short at the 24, boots it high in the air, spinning kick going toward Matt Clayball on the near side, picks it up and calls fair catch at the 35 of Gate City. That's where the Blue Devils have the football on the near hash mark. 1 minute, 2 seconds left in what has been a defensive struggle throughout the game. We are 1 minute 2 left in the third quarter. No score, Gate City and Tazwell.
Tell you what, PJ, I'm not so sure that one of these 2 defenses may score the only touchdown that's scored here tonight. Somebody picks one off, is able to go all the way, or picks up a fumble and go all the way, because offensively both teams are just almost butting heads. We're not moving the ball a whole lot either way. So one of the defenses may come out on top here, I hope. I hope it's a blue defense.
Gate City has had 2 possessions here in the second half. The first one resulting in a punt, the second one in a turnover on downs. And Shoemaker calls the signals. They break the tee, and he's going to give to the fullback, Gibson, fighting his way, still on his feet, to the 36, maybe the 37. Kevin Gibson just determined to get yardage along the left side of the Gate City line.
Good tackle that time by Van Dyke and Brian Phillips, the interior lineman of Tazwell's defense.
Pickup of 2 for Gate City, actually 3, they say. So it's 2nd and 7. The ball at the Gate City 30, looks like about the 37-yard line. Gibson now with 35 yards on the ground. Gate City with back set side by side. Wing back is Hank Clayball. Shoemaker dropping straight back to pass. Good time. Looks, has a man. Matt Clayball's wide open, and he catches the ball at the 37 of Tazwell. Matt Clayball streaked down the middle of the field and made a diving catch over his shoulder at the 37 of Tazwell. Big play. 1st and 10, Gate City.
It was a big play, and James Martin was closing pretty quick from his safety position. I thought I saw almost interception there for a moment, but Clayball outran him to the football and made a big completion that time. So Blue Devils in business now inside the 40 of Tazwell.
26 yards on the catch. Clayball with his 2nd reception of the game. He has 30 yards. Josh Shoemaker now with 41 yards passing. It's 1st and 10, Gate City at the Tazwell 37. Blue Devils on the move with 1 second left, and they won't get the final play of the 3rd quarter off. So Gate City will switch ends, but the Blue Devils have the momentum and they have the football heading into period 4. 3 quarters complete from Legion Field. Gate City 0, Tazwell 0.
A big opportunity here at PJ as you get ready to go through the sponsors again. If the Blue Devils can continue this drive and get on top first, I think it may be a big key in this game.
Tonight's Blue Devil football game is brought to you by Roberts Tire and Recapping. Fall is a great time for new tires from Roberts like Firestone and Michelin. By People's Bank of Gate City, featuring half-a-day hours on Saturday and a drive-up ATM. By Magnolia Place, come and see their great display of dolls of all kinds in October. By Weber City Drug Center with great prescription service. By Nations Bank with an ATM at the Weber City office and great deals on credit. By Weber City Coin Laundry, Deli and Tanning, full-service laundry, sandwiches, and tanning beds. By Williams Heating and Air Conditioning. Check out their Carrier heat pumps today. By Delegate Terry Kilgore, a hard-working representative for hard-working people. By State Line Graphics, offering the best service for your printing needs, located in Weber City. And by King Ford and Gate City, where you'll find the best prices on new models. Blue Devil football is also brought to you by Scott Jewelers, by Gate City Drug, by Michael Carrico, candidate for Commonwealth's attorney, by Doc Whitley Nationwide Insurance, by the Campus Drive-In, and by Willis Pharmacy as we start the 4th quarter. Shoemaker runs the option to this side, pitches to Hank Clayball, big hole to the 30, to the 27 of Tazwell. They started out right at the 37 of Tazwell, and he gets it all the way down to the 27, and it's close to another 1st down for Hank Clayball of Gate City.
Big block that time by Beasley, coming from his right guard spot, I believe, and got out in front and did a good job.
2nd and maybe the football length. They'll say 2nd and 1. 58 yards unofficially rushing for Hank Clayball as the backs line up in the tee. In the 4th quarter we are, in the 5th game of the season, and Kevin Gibson rushes the football close to the 26-yard line, right up the middle, following the block of Matt Johnson and Jason Kilgore. It's a 1st down for Gate City.
This is one of the first drives, or maybe the only drive tonight, where we put a couple of 1st downs together and got a pretty good drive going. The Blue Devils need to continue to take advantage here.
Gain of 3 for Gibson. He has about 38 yards on the ground, and it's 1st and 10 at the Tazwell 25. Gate City has the football on the hash mark nearest us on the press box side of Legion Field. Shoemaker calls the signals. Back set side by side, and the halfback is Hank Clayball as they give to the fullback. Gibson again pushing his way across the line of scrimmage and just running on sheer guts up the middle to pick up close to 2 yards.
Yeah, big Danny Sparks that time, 5'10", 270-pound junior, made the tackle. That's 270 pounds going against 170 pounds for Gibson. So Sparks had a 100-pound advantage, and Gibson still able to pick up 4 yards on the play.
It's amazing how Coach Nick Collibro is able to distribute the ball so evenly among his backs. Gibson has 42 yards, Hank Clayball has 58, and Matt Clayball with over 20 as well. This time, side by side, split outs to both sides. Shoemaker dropping straight back to pass. He's pressured, fires the ball toward McClellan on the far side of the field, and he makes the catch. Let's see. The official says it's caught. Caught by Matt McClellan, deep in Tazwell territory. Well, let's see. One official says it's caught. Now they all agree. The back official finally saying, yes, it is a catch, and it's deep in Tazwell territory. Looks like the ball is going to be at about the 7-yard line.
Yeah, Matt McClellan caught a pass this time that wasn't as well thrown as the one he dropped the other time. So he made up for the drop that he had the last time. Did a good job to stretch out, make a catch in deep in Tazwell territory.
At the 7-yard line of the Bulldogs, the best offensive drive of the night for Gate City. T formation. They're going to play power football with McClellan lined out as a split end to the wide side. He's going to give to Matt Claybaugh, and Matt Claybaugh across the left side of the line, finding little, if any, yardage as he's tackled by a host of Tazwell Bulldogs.
A couple of people in that time, Sparks again, Phillips in that time, and one of the linebackers closed well too, believe it was coming. So this yardage down here is going to be hard to gain.
Matt Claybaugh with 20 yards on the ground. Kevin Gibson 42, Hank Claybaugh 58. Second and goal from the Tazwell 6. No score. The clock showing 9 minutes and 34 seconds left in the game. We told you coming in this was going to be a tight contest, and it has lived up to its billing. Shoemaker under center, T formation. Claybaugh's on either side of the fullback, Gibson. Shoemaker rolls out, pitches to Hank Claybaugh. He's to the 5, and he's tripped up and dives to the 1-yard line. He almost got in, and he is ruled just short of the end zone. He was tripped up and dove to the half-yard line.
I believe the tackle that time was Curtis Johnson, 43. That's a new number in the lineup. Put us almost in that time, but Claybaugh's knee hit the ground at about the 16th line, looks like.
Third and goal from the 1-foot line of Tazwell. Gate City trying to break this scoreless deadlock with a touchdown. We're under 9 minutes to play in the game. From the Tazwell 1-foot line, Shoemaker under center, calling the signals. The Bulldogs line up. They give to Gibson. Touchdown, Gate City. Kevin Gibson roaring up the middle, and he scores, and the Blue Devils have drawn first blood against Tazwell.
Gibson behind the block of Jason Kilgore and Chad Beasley that time off the right side, right up the middle. Good block by Kilgore and Beasley. They earned a touchdown for Gibson and for the Blue Devils here with 8:37 to go in the game.
The offensive line putting on a tremendous showing on this drive. They played well throughout the game, but on this drive in particular, this may have been one of the best drives for Gate City concerning the offensive line the entire season. They just dominated Tazwell from the line of scrimmage. And here's Matt McClellan, a crucial extra point. They bobble the snap. It's off the hands of Shoemaker. McClellan kicks it, picks it up, and Tazwell finally falls on at the 25. So a crucial mistake. The snap was just a tad high and mishandled by Shoemaker. It rolled back. McClellan tried to pick it up. He kicked it, and Tazwell fell on it at the 25. So the score remains 6-0 in favor of Gate City.
That's a big extra point there. Blue Devils have been almost mechanic-like all year. They've maybe had one block, I believe, or a bad snap on a couple, but they've been pretty consistent on their PATs, and now you got to hold Tazwell, keep them from scoring first of all, and then if they do score, you got to find some way to keep them from making their PAT.
That's only the second miss for Gate City throughout the entire season. They've made 13 of 15 now on the year. One of those, I believe, kicked by Bo Hartsock last week against Marion. Gate City will kick off. McClellan teeing it up at the 40. Tazwell trailing 6-0. The Bulldogs have played a great game on defense. Con Patterson has moved the ball well on offense, and they'll get the ball with 8 minutes and 37 seconds left in the game. Tazwell 3-1, Gate City 3-1. Both these teams are in Group AA. They're both in Region 4. They're both in Division 3. So they could very well meet later on down the road in the playoffs, and if the season continues to progress as it has unfolded in the first few weeks, that's a pretty good possibility.
I'd say you're right, BJ. Seems like we've played them in the playoffs the last couple of years, I believe.
McClellan tees it up. The Devils are down in their three-point stance at the 35. Here comes the senior, and he boots it for Gate City, driving the ball deep, pushing Martin back to the end zone, and it rolls in the end zone, and Patterson watches it scoot out of the end zone. And Tazwell will have the ball at the 20-yard line, 1st and 10 on the touchback, and the Bulldogs have 80 yards separating them and the tying score with 8 minutes and 37 seconds left to play.
Matt McClellan's leg, we've talked about it before. That's a big plus for the Blue Devils to keep the ball away from those running backs that are back on the kickoff. They have good speed and good quickness, and when you break the plane of that goal line and make them have to bring the ball out and spot it on the 20, that's a big plus for the Blue Devils.
The last time Tazwell had the football, they were forced to punt. Gate City turning in a 65-yard drive for the touchdown. Here's Con Patterson, the senior. He played running back last season. He's the QB this year. Quick pitch to Curtis Johnson, trying to get around the right end. He's hit in the backfield and dropped for a loss by Gate City's 41, Jake Housewright, storming in from his linebacker position and dropping Curtis Johnson for a big loss.
Housewright did an excellent job. Fought off the interference in front of him and got through it and made the tackle on the running back. Good job that time by Housewright. Big play for the Blue Devils.
Loss of, we'll call it about probably 7 yards for Johnson. He had 27 coming into that carry. Now he only has 20. 2nd and 17, we'll call it. The ball at the Tazwell 13. We'll say 2nd and 16, and it's at the 14-yard line. So the Bulldogs deep in their own territory, wideouts to each side. Patterson going to roll out. He's looking to pass to this side. He'll keep it himself. Big hole up the middle for the Gate City defense. Breaks the tackle, still on his feet to the 25, to the 30, to the 35. Still on his feet, breaks the tackle to the 45. Across midfield, one man to beat. Hank Clayball, he stumbles, and he's down at the 27-yard line. Con Patterson started out rushing to this side, reversed his field, found a seam, and went all the way down to the 27 of Gate City. A pickup of Big. We'll calculate it here in a second. He went all the way from the 16 to the Gate City 27.
I think without a doubt, PJ, he's the most dangerous player that Tazwell has. He has great cutback ability, great vision, it looks like, once he gets into the open field, and he cut back 2 or 3 times during that run. So now, from having Tazwell backed up deep in their own territory, the Blue Devils got to stiffen their back here as Tazwell's inside the Blue Devil 30 at about the 27, looks like.
Gain of 57 for Conwadi Patterson. He has 92 yards rushing. That's top for everybody in the game. And he directs the offense. He's got him set down. He's going to pitch to the tailback. Martin looking for room. He's to the 25, to the 23, and the Devils finally tackle him, but not before he picks up close to 4, maybe 5 yards.
Now, I believe the play alone from Patterson has nationally fired up this Tazwell team. That's one of the better runs that they have had all night by the other running backs, and looks like their line blocking that time was a little bit better also. So Tazwell right now, even though the Blue Devils are on the board and ahead, Tazwell may have gained the momentum just on the running play of Conwadi Patterson.
The Devils look just a tad winded. Of course, they were chasing Patterson down the field, and Patterson ran into his old man. Actually, that enabled the Devils to catch him. So Gate City just a tad tired on this drive. It's a power I formation. Wingback is to the left side. Patterson going to roll out that side, looking to pass. Has a man open, fires, and it's just out of the hands of Martin. It was about a foot too long for him, and it goes incomplete. Martin was at the 15 of Gate City.
I'll tell you, PJ, I'm no football coach, but how much you bet that how much you want to bet that Patterson rolls on this play to one side or the other? It's going to be 3rd down here and about 5 yards to go, and a long 5 at that. And Coach Litz has called a timeout here for Tazwell. That may be a break for the Blue Devils to give them a chance to get their wind back.
Coach Litz of Tazwell said last year with the quarterback they had, he was a great passer, but he didn't have a lot of mobility. Coming into the season, Litz was excited about moving Patterson to quarterback simply because of what he can do with his scrambling ability. He can take it out. It looks like he's going to roll around and keep the ball, but he'll drop back and pass. If you think he's going to pass, he'll burn you around the end. So he is just deadly with his speed at quarterback. And, you know, they say he's truly a triple threat player. He can run the ball, he can pass the ball, and he also kicks the ball really well.
Well, you know, the cornerbacks for Gate City, when Patterson rolls out, they have to honor those receivers that he's got out in the pass pattern. So they have to drop back, and that's when they do that, that gives Patterson some open lanes also to run the football if those receivers are covered.
6 minutes and 25 seconds left in the game. 6-0 Gate City lead. Kevin Gibson scoring from 1 yard out, and Tazwell took advantage of the mixed extra point by Gate City. The Devils bobbled the snap. It's 3rd down and 5 to go. Tazwell in an I formation, wing back to the right of Patterson. Split outs to both sides. Looks over the defense, man in motion to the near side. Patterson rolls straight back, looking, he's pressured, fires, got a man open, and it's incomplete as he threw it by him. He threw it low and away from the intended receiver, number 83, Eric Bland, and it's 4th and 5 for the Bulldogs.
Well, I was a little surprised that time. I thought maybe Patterson might keep on the rollout or just the old quarterback keeper with everybody out in front of him, but they dropped him back, and he doesn't really impress me throwing the football. He has a good arm, but I don't think he's been that accurate. Of course, he'll probably hit one now for 35 yards over the middle in the coverage for a touchdown, but I think if we can make him throw the football, we're better off.
Here it is, 4th down and 5 to go. Tazwell calling the play. Patterson keeps the ball rolling out. He's pressured and he's sacked in the backfield. Fumbles the ball. Gate City recovers. Gate City has it at the 35. Patterson fumbles the ball, and it's recovered by Gate City. Big play for the Devils. And Coach Bill Housewright jumps up and down on the sideline, and for his defense, a major breakthrough in this tight game.
Young man that has fought off a few injuries for the past couple of years made that play, I believe. Lindsey Fisher just got back into this football game right before the Lebanon football game. He was injured and came in and made a big play for the Blue Devils.
Still not out of the woods yet. They have the ball at their own 35 on the far hash mark with just over 6 minutes to play. Shoemaker barks the signals. He's going to give to the fullback. The sure-handed Gibson is up to the 40 and maybe to the 41. This situation harkens back to the opening game of the season against Lebanon. Gate City had the lead, and then they fumbled on their final drive. Lebanon took advantage and scored the winning field goal. Let's see if fate is kinder to the Blue Devils tonight.
Good block that time by J.C. Oakes again on that left side. Gibson has done a real good job over this year, I think, since maybe the first game, and all the Blue Devil running backs have at holding on to the football.
2nd and 5. Gate City in a T formation. Double tight end set. Shoemaker barks the signals, and he's going to give to Gibson first down and more. He's got up to the 49 as he drags tacklers with him. Kevin Gibson pounding the interior of their defense, and he gets up and waves his arms to inspire the Gate City fans.
I tell you, PJ, that big play by Fisher now has fired up this Gate City Blue Devil offense. Even though the defense made the play, it was a very big play, and it helps your offensive team, too. Of course, we got a lot of kids going both ways here, but Blue Devils in pretty good shape if they can keep this clock running and pick up a couple more first downs.
Just like Nick Colabro said, the great thing about this team is that the big play may come from a defensive end, from a lineman, somebody you wouldn't expect, and it has tonight. Shoemaker barks the signals, 5 men on the front, gives to Gibson again. A little bit less running room as the Bulldogs swarm him along the left side of the offensive line up to close to the 49.
James Martin and John Mabry on the tackle that time for Tazwell. Clock's running with 4:35 to go in the game here, and the Blue Devils with a 2nd and 9, looks like.
6-0. Gate City would like to pick up win number 4 on the season. 5 tough games left on the schedule. Next week it's Graham, then Richlands, then at Appalachia, at Powell Valley, and closing out the regular season at Abingdon. This is a big game for Gate City. They'd like to have a W coming out of this game tonight at Legion Field. Shoemaker with a signal. He's going to run the option, and he's not got much room to the short side. Breaks a tackle around the end, picks up about 4, maybe 5, maybe 6, and he's out of bounds, close to the 44 of Tazwell.
Got a flag on the far sideline, too, PJ. That's could be a big call if it's going against Tazwell. Could be a herder for us if it's against the Blue Devil.
No indication yet. Gate City doesn't look too happy about it. And it's going to be a clip on the Devils. A big penalty on Gate City. With the clock winding down, the Devils trying to run out the clock, and Dave Litz waves his right arm, says, push them back. We'll take all the yardage we can get on this drive.
So that's going to push Gate City back pretty deep in their own territory. It's still going to be 2nd down, but Blue Devils right here, probably the biggest thing they're fighting right now is the clock. If they can keep the clock running here and punt the ball away and make Tazwell drive the length of the field with not a whole lot of time left, I don't know that you got to do anything fancy here and try to throw a pass to get your yardage back. You just want to keep the clock running as long as Tazwell doesn't stop.
It's going to be 2nd and 20 for Gate City. 2nd and 20 from the Blue Devil 38-yard line. They have to get to the 42 of Tazwell to convert a first. They have the football resting on the far hash mark at their own 38. 4 minutes and 4 seconds displays the clock. Back set side by side. Wing back is out to this side, as is a split end. Shoemaker looking the defense over on a reverse. They're going to give it to Matt Claybaugh. Running room to the 45, to the 50, to the Tazwell 47, and he's hammered out of bounds. Matt Claybaugh from the right wing back went around the left end, fooled everybody, and gives Gate City a big gain. 17 on the carry.
It was a big gain, and it looked like for a second that play was going to be stopped in the backfield, but Blue Devils, Claybaugh made a good cut and used his speed that time to pick up some good yardage. Martin had to come from his safety position really to drive him out of bounds. So going to be 3rd down here and a big play with about 4 yards to go, looks like.
3rd and 4, Gate City at the Tazwell 45. 37 yards on the ground from Matt Claybaugh. Kevin Gibson has 57. Hank Claybaugh with a bunch more. Hank Claybaugh officially with 54. Gate City in a T formation. Crucial third down. Shoemaker calls the signals. Going to give to Gibson. Gibson barreling his way. First down down to the 40, to the 38. And Gate City moves the chains, keeps the ball, and works the clock.
Tell you one thing Gibson did on that play, PJ. They tried to strip the football away from him, and he kept both arms wrapped around. Big play for the Blue Devils and a big run for Gibson. Not a whole lot of yardage, but it's a big first down and a clock-controlling run.
Gain of 6, 1st and 10 at the Tazwell 39. Devils on the move from left to right. Clock on the move as well. It's moving in a downward direction. 3 minutes and 30 seconds left. The Devils trying to grind this one away and put win number 4 in the record books. T formation. They're keeping the ball close to the vest and playing power against this Tazwell defense. Again to the sure-handed senior Gibson up the middle, pushing tacklers as he's down close to the 35, perhaps a late hit but no flag, and Gibson just pushing people away from him as he gains close to 4 yards.
Just used the wedge that time created by Matt Johnson, Jason Kilgore, and Chad Beasley. Those 2 guards in the center that time, and Gibson just runs right behind all 3 of them.
67 yards, unofficially on 19 carries for Kevin Gibson, the senior, who earned a start against Powell Valley last season, as now he heads to the sideline. It looks like maybe he pulls up lame, holding his left leg, or perhaps his, we'll look at it as he's over on the sideline. Anyway, we have a replacement coming into the game for him. So what a big loss that would be for Gate City. Kevin Gibson goes to the sideline, and the Devils wisely call timeout with their leading ball carrier on the sideline. Coach Nick Colabro is upset. He's talking to the official on the far side, and he is very upset about something that happened to Kevin Gibson.
Well, Gibson's going to come back now. Looks like maybe he just had a cramp, and what he may ask that official was if he could report back into the lineup after going out. I'm not really sure that he can do that, but that's a big plus to have Gibson with his experience back there as a senior. Benny Wolf's done a fine job in some of the playing time he's got at the fullback spot, but to get Gibson with his experience back in there is what counts.
2 minutes and 34 seconds left in the game here at Legion Field on a beautiful September night. The final night of September, September 30th. Tomorrow, October will be here, and it will start the second part of Gate City's grueling schedule. Heading into the season, many experts in the media predicted Gate City would have the most difficult schedule, the toughest in the area, and it's lived up to that building. You look at Lebanon, they are still undefeated, and they're playing well. Virginia High is much improved. Lee is much better than their 1-3 record heading into tonight. And Marion still a pretty good team, although they've had some bad luck. Tazwell has proven to be a good opponent. Next week, Graham, they're always tough. Then at Richlands, the best team, many people say in Southwest Virginia. Then at Appalachia and Powell Valley and Abingdon. So it doesn't get any easier. And the Devils need this win tonight. Ball is resting just shy of the near hash mark. It's at the 36 of Gate City, 2nd and 6. 2 minutes 34. They give to Hank Clayball, busting forward to the 35 as he lowers his shoulder and pushes forward for a yard.
Tackle that time by Kevin Mays. And Tazwell's going to call a timeout here, PJ. I'm not sure whether that's the first timeout or the second timeout this half, but Tazwell's going to stop the clock with 2:22 to go. Blue Devils going to have a 3rd and 6 here.
They'll say officially no gain for Clayball. And Hank on the contest has 54 yards unofficially. Gibson also unofficially 67 yards. Matt Clayball unofficially 37 yards. So the 3 backs for Gate City, while not getting the big 100-yard rusher, put them together and you've got a pretty decent game against a very tough Tazwell defense.
Well, you talked about it a while ago. We've done a pretty good job of distributing the ball between all 3 of the backs, and that keeps everybody kind of fresh, too, by doing that, PJ. You're not really running one guy on the ground, but the Blue Devils have done a good job, I think. They got 2 minutes and 22 seconds to hold on here, and the biggest thing right now, I think, is to hold on to the football.
Larry Shelton made reference to it earlier tonight. He said the team that makes the turnovers, that doesn't give them up, will win the game. Gate City, Hank Clayball with an interception. Lindsey Fisher forcing a fumble. The Devils have the lead, they're driving, and they have the advantage in the turnover column. 2 minutes and 22 seconds left in the 4th quarter here at Legion Field. Shoemaker barks the signals. Here's Hank Clayball. He's across the 35 to the 33, maybe to the 32, depending on the spot. It's going to be short of the first down, and they put him right at the 33. So short by about 4 yards for Hank Clayball.
Let's see what the Blue Devils going to do here. It's a long way to go, 4th and 4. Now, Tazwell's called another timeout, PJ. I know that's at least 2. I believe that's all they've taken in the second half.
We think they have 1 left. They'll get the ball, maybe, depending on what Gate City does. 4th and 4. The Devils must push the football across the 30-yard line in order to move the chains. 2 minutes and 3 seconds to play here in the 4th quarter. Tazwell has reeled off a couple of big plays against Gate City tonight. The biggest was a 57-yard run by quarterback Con Patterson. He rolled out to his left, reversed field, went through the middle of the Gate City defense and wound up down at the Gate City 27. So that has been the biggest play for Gate City. And Larry, I wouldn't be surprised if Tazwell gets the ball back in the final 2 minutes if Mr. Patterson has his has his hands on the pigskin again.
Well, I think so, PJ. He's a dangerous running back, and it looks like Gate City here, 4th and 4 on Tazwell's 33, 34-yard line is going to go for it. So this is a big play. If we get a first down, probably, and hold on to the football, the ball game's over. But if we don't, Tazwell's going to end up with pretty good field position.
So here we are at Legion Field with 2 minutes and 3 seconds. T formation behind Shoemaker, calls the play. 4th and 4. He's going to roll out. He's going to pass. Breaks past the defender who got him, and he pitches out. And it's pitched to Matt Claybaugh, but they say the quarterback was in the grasp and sacked for a loss at the 42. Claybaugh tried to break away from the tackler. He tried to pitch it to Matt Claybaugh, but they ruled that he was in the grasp of the defender at the 43. Tazwell takes over. 1st and 10. Now they'll move it back a yard. 1st and 10 Bulldogs at their own 42. 1:55 to play and counting. Tazwell with 1 timeout. Big drive here to end the game. Fans on their feet on both sides of the stadium, and a flag thrown. Perhaps too much time, or perhaps somebody moved the ball. Let's see. It's going to be against the Bulldogs regardless. False start on one of the Tazwell linemen, and the Bulldogs will retreat 5 yards on the penalty.
Well, one good thing about that, the clock ran down about 9 seconds before the flag was thrown, so that's more time off the clock. But the Blue Devils here gave them a ball in pretty good field position. Now they've got to stop Patterson.
Gate City gambled and came up on the long end of the deck. High formation behind Patterson. He's going to roll straight back, looking to his left. Now he scrambles. He's got some room. He's up to the 40, to the 45, and he is still on his feet near the 49 of Tazwell and slides out of bounds. Con Patterson about 3 yards short of the first down. He had to get to the 47 in Gate City territory, but importantly for Tazwell, did he get out of bounds? The clock is still turning.
Evidently not.
He didn't get out of bounds. He slid down and didn't get out of the bounds. The Tazwell fans are irate. Patterson back to the line. 1:11 to play. 2nd and 5. Patterson rolling, spins out, looking, heaves the ball downfield, and it is caught. Caught at the 35 of Gate City. Caught by number 5, Matt Whitaker, the junior, with his 2nd or 3rd reception of the night. Tazwell on the move. 1:04 to play. They stop the clock to move the chains on the first down. Remember, it's 6-0 Gate City. The Devils missed the extra point on the touchdown by Gibson. Will that prove costly? Only time will tell. Patterson again, the I formation, wing back to his right, split outs both sides, drops straight back, good time, fires, got a man open. In the secondary, it is broken up by Gate City. Beautiful play by the Devils, number 2, Matt Claybaugh, the senior, makes a touchdown-saving stop. He breaks up the intended pass. Let's see, looks like it was number 82, Matt Heldreth, the intended receiver, all the way down at the 10 of Gate City.
Yeah, put a big tight end out there man for man against Matt Claybaugh, that had 3 or 4 inches advantage on him and laid the ball up high, and Matt did a good job just knocking the ball away.
2nd and 10, 52 seconds to play. 4th quarter, Tazwell trails by 6. Conwani Patterson rolls up to the side, fires downfield, man open. It is caught at the 9-yard line by Heldreth. He was open in front of Gate City's defender. Looked like Hank Claybaugh was back there, and a gain down to the 9-yard line of Gate City.
Well, he's a tough man when he starts to roll. He can do a lot of things with the football, like we've said all night.
Tazwell with Patterson bringing him to the line. The clock is stopped, 45 seconds. The ball in the near hash mark. Patterson now with the clock running, 40 seconds. Looks over the defense. He's going to roll out, looking to pass, rolling to the right side. He's under pressure with time now, coming back to the near side, fires to the end zone. Intercepted Gate City. Intercepted Gate City by Jake Housewright. He's down to the 12, and Gate City takes over. Interception of the year for Jake Housewright.
Defense is the name of this game, PJ. Blue Devil linebackers dropped back deep and didn't give Patterson anybody to throw to. Did a good job in coverage, and Housewright, for a big freshman, stepped in and made a real big interception.
Patterson had plenty of time in the backfield. Gate City finally got to him. He had to heave the ball up, and there was the sophomore, Jake Housewright.
Looks like the Blue Devils here.
Housewright's a freshman, so a big play on the varsity level for freshman Jake Housewright, Larry.
Blue Devils here have called timeout. I'd say Coach Colabro now is just saying, you know, Tazwell has one timeout. They can stop the clock if we're right. One timeout. And we just follow the ground here for 3 times, and the clock's going to be gone. So you got to have a good snap and hold on to the football, go down to the knee. Don't give anybody a chance to hit you.
3 big turnovers tonight. An interception by Hank Claybaugh to close the first half, or actually on Tazwell's final possession of the first half. Then Lindsey Fisher forcing the fumble on Con Patterson as Tazwell was driving in the third quarter. And now here in the fourth quarter, Jake Housewright, the freshman, comes up with a tremendous play and intercepts Con Patterson. The Devils have it 1st and 10 at their own 12-yard line. The ball is near the far hash mark. The Gate City fans are on their feet for a thrilling game with 29 seconds to play here in the fourth quarter. Tazwell with 1 timeout left. Shoemaker under center, and he will kneel down. The Bulldogs come charging in and hit him. Shoemaker took maybe a half step too far back, but it doesn't matter as the clock rolls. Tazwell may not have any timeouts left, because if they do, they're not calling it.
I agree, PJ. So, they may be out of timeouts. I thought maybe they were the other time, but
10-9, and the emerald green-clad fans from Tazwell begin their exit from Legion Field as the clock strikes 0, and Gate City has won 6-0. A tremendous win over the Tazwell Bulldogs. A fine effort for the Gate City defense. The offense came up with a drive when they needed it, and more importantly, Gate City has a big win over a tough foe they could face later on in the year in the playoffs.
You hope everybody came out of this thing healthy. As far as I could tell, Gibson was the only man that looked like he might have had any type of injury, and he came back into the football game. But this young Blue Devil team never failed to amaze me, PJ. They seem to rise to the occasion each week. They've got quite a few tough games left to go, but when you have freshmen that step up and make big plays, I tell you, in a ball game, it's got to really make these coaches for the Blue Devils feel good, especially Coach Housewright and his defensive coach.
So Gate City comes away with their 4th consecutive win over Tazwell, spanning almost 3 seasons. They win tonight 6-0, another close game, as they have all been in this series over the past few years. Nick Colabro defeating his old school. He coached there in the early 80s before taking over at Gate City, and he defeats rival and good friend Dave Litz. The Bulldogs dropped to 3-2 in the year. Gate City is 4-1. They're still 3-0 in the Highlands. This was not a district game, but it was a big win because it came against, again, a Group AA team, a Region 4 team, and a Division 3 team. Those are all the characteristics Gate City has, so these 2 teams could meet in the playoffs, and this could be a crucial game later on down the road in point standings.
Oh, I agree, and I think we probably will see Tazwell again. Tazwell, I think, so far is the best team we've seen, especially defensively. And, you know, we got Graham coming in next week. It has a lot of speed. They have those 2 running backs, Hughes, and I don't remember the other kid, but they have a lot of speed in their backfield, and it'll be a game a whole lot like this if we can shut their speed down. Coach Carlock plays a whole lot the same type defense. He puts 8 men up real close to the line of scrimmage, and he says if you can throw the ball, you have time to throw it, and you can complete it, you can beat me, but you got to do that. And I expect the same thing next week. If the Blue Devil defense can play as well next week against Graham as they did tonight, I think the Blue Devils may stand a chance of winning.
Before we take a look at the final game stats, we want to thank the sponsors for tonight's game. They make it all possible for us here at Channel 30. Our sponsors include People's Bank of Gate City, featuring half-a-day hours on Saturday, and a drive-up ATM. Get countywide service with People's. By Magnolia Place. Come by and see their great display of dolls of all kinds in October on East Jackson Street in Gate City. By Weber City Drug Center. Great prescription service, also featuring UPS and fax service for your convenience. By Nations Bank, with an ATM at the Weber City office and great deals on private lines of credit throughout Scott County. By Weber City Coin Laundry, deli and tanning, with full-service laundry, sandwiches and homemade soups, and 6 Wolf tanning beds. By Williams Heating and Air Conditioning, fall weather is a great reminder to check our Williams Carrier heat pumps. By Delegate Terry Kilgore, a hard-working representative for hard-working people. By State Line Graphics, offering the best for your printing needs, located in Weber City. By King Ford and Gate City, where you'll find the best prices on new models. And by Roberts Tire and Recapping. Fall is a great time for new tires from Roberts like Firestone and Michelin. Blue Devil football is also brought to you by Gate City Drug, by Doc Whitley, Nationwide Insurance, by the Campus Drive-In, by Willis Pharmacy, and by Scott Jewelers. Thank you to all the sponsors who help us bring you Blue Devil football on Channel 30. Larry Shelton has a look at the final game stats.
For the final game stats and first downs, Gate City had 10 first downs, Tazwell had 9. Gate City rushed the ball 45 times for 145 yards. Tazwell rushed the ball 27 times for 137. Gate City attempted 12 passes, only completed 4, had 1 interception for 53 yards. Tazwell attempted 15 passes, completed 5, 1 interception for 87 yards. Total offense, Gate City 198, Tazwell 224. Punts, Gate City 4 for a 31-yard average, Tazwell 5 for a 36-yard average. Penalties, Gate City had 2 for 24 yards, Tazwell had 2 for 20. Turnovers, Gate City had 1, Tazwell had 4. Fumbles, Gate City had 1 and recovered it. Tazwell had 3 and lost 2 of those. So, PJ, the stats are pretty even except the turnover column, and that's where the Blue Devils took advantage.
And that's something you talked about earlier, Larry. You said the team that has the fewest turnovers will win this game simply because it's a ball control atmosphere. And your final impressions coming out of this game about the way Gate City played?
Well, I'm really impressed with Gate City's defense. I'd say the offensive coaches are not too impressed with the way they played, but I'm pretty impressed all the way around. I think Tazwell had a good defense. They had a lot to do with our offense not clicking as well. But you got to remember, they did put a drive together and they scored, and that was something that we kept Tazwell from doing. They put a couple of drives together, but they didn't get in the end zone, and the Blue Devils did. So that's that thing that we talked about before. Even though they hadn't fallen behind, they were able, as a group of young men, to put a drive together and put the ball in the end zone, and that was the only score of the night. So I'm pretty well impressed. Every time I see these young men play, they impress me a little more.
We'll be back with you 1 week from tonight. Next Friday night at Legion Field, the Graham G-men come into town, and they face Richlands tonight, so they'll either be coming in with a 2-3 record or 3-2, depending on how the outcome of that game. But they'll be coming in fired up for Gate City. Game time next week is 7:30. You can catch all the action on the live audio version at 7:15 for our pregame show, and then the play-by-play starting at 7:30 next Friday against Graham. It'll be homecoming, so come out and join us, won't you? And if you can't, be sure to tune us in here on Channel 30 and watch our live replays. Our tape replays this week will be tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Saturday morning, and also at 6:30 on Tuesday evening. The band is also, you'll also be able to see the band this week as well. So a lot of good things going on here for Gate City football and Gate City High School in general. It's been our pleasure to have you with us tonight. Glad you joined us for this thrilling 6-0 win by Gate City over Tazwell. I want to thank my partner, Larry Shelton. Great job as always. Our videographers, Tammy McGee and Daniel Doherty, making the long drive in from Blacksburg. Thanks for being here with us. To our engineer, Mitch Taylor. To our producer, Gwen Lane. This is P.J. Grinsell. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week here at Legion Field on STE Cablevision, Channel 30.
Wes is a senior, been here with us ever since Little League football. Another one of those kids is